Hey guys, it's Alicia. Today's video is a viewer request, and that is for Copycat Chili's chicken enchilada soup. Now, I personally have never had Chili's chicken enchilada soup before, so I'm excited to try this out. I am going to be taking a recipe that I found for a Copycat for it and adapting it, so making some changes to make it more Weight Watcher friendly. I will have the original recipe that I'm adapting down below in the description box. But as always, I will have the ingredients, instructions on how I'm going to be making it, as well as a recipe builder link to my WW recipe builder so you can see what the points are for you. I will tell you what they are for me, but again, you can click on that to see what the points are for you as well. And I do always have that information down below in my videos, ingredients, instructions, and recipe links. So definitely check down in the description box of all my videos to find that info. I get people asking me if I have my recipes listed, and that is where they always are listed, in the description box of my videos. So just wanted to say that real quick too, since I get a lot of questions about that. But let me jump into the ingredients that you're gonna need to make this. First off, you're gonna need some chicken breasts. Now I've got 3 large chicken breasts, boneless, skinless, that I've baked in the oven. I just added a little Lori's seasoning salt to mine, baked it, and I'm gonna be chopping those up. Next up, you're gonna need some Velveeta. I've got 2% Velveeta here. You're gonna be needing 16 ounces or half of this brick. Then you're gonna need some chicken broth. I've got 4 cups here. You're also gonna need 3 cups of water, which I don't have out here, but you are gonna need that as well. And that is gonna be, the water is gonna be for the masa here. You're gonna be mixing the water with this, and you're gonna need a cup of this. And also, it took me a little while to find this. It's not in with the flour and stuff. It's in with, in my store at least, it was in the Mexican food section. So that's where I got this. And I don't believe I've ever cooked with this before. So that'll be fun to try out. You're also going to need, for seasoning, some ground cumin, some chili powder, and then here I've got a can of red enchilada sauce. The recipe's calling for a cup, but the smallest can I could find was 10 ounces. So I'm gonna just be using this whole can. You're also gonna need half of a white onion, chopped up, and then some minced garlic. Now if you wanna add salt to this, you absolutely can. It is in the recipe that I'm gonna be adapting, but I typically don't add extra salt to my stuff. I salt my individual servings because we're always watching our sodium intake. But that is everything for the soup itself, I believe, unless I've forgotten something. I'm also gonna be making the Pico de Gallo that they show in this recipe. And for that, you're gonna need some tomato, a little bit of red onion. I've got some cilantro here in this container, some lime juice, salt and pepper, and I believe that's it for the pico. So for the tortilla garnish, I guess, I'm gonna be using 3 corn tortillas and then a little bit of olive oil. And I'm gonna just be doing mine in my air fryer. I love making chips in my air fryer, so I'm gonna just do them the same way with these tortilla strips. I think I've covered everything, so let me jump into this. The first thing I'm gonna do is get all my stuff chopped up that needs to be chopped up. So I'm gonna start with this onion. And I think I said I was only gonna use half of this. I'm gonna just go ahead and use the whole thing. We love onion in this house, or at least I do. Well, my husband likes it too. So I'm gonna just add this whole thing in there because I don't typically use white onions. So I don't want it to go to waste. So I'm gonna chop that up. And then I'm also gonna chop up my chicken breast. And I'm gonna be chopping my half box of this Velveeta into cubes. So I'm gonna do all that and then I will be back. Now that I've got all my stuff chopped up and ready to go, I'm gonna start with a large pot here that I've got on medium heat. And I'm gonna add in first my onion, and I'm gonna get that cooking in there. Now I am using a non-stick pan here. If you don't have a non-stick, I would recommend using a little bit of olive oil so that these don't stick, but they're gonna create their own moisture and they're not gonna stick in there like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let those soften up a little bit for a few minutes in there. Let those onions cook in there about 2-3 minutes. Then I'm gonna add in some garlic, about a teaspoon, maybe a little more. And I'm gonna let that cook in there for about a minute. All right, I let that garlic cook in there about a minute, so now I'm gonna add in my chicken broth. Give that a stir. And then over here I've got a bowl. I'm gonna add in my 2 cups of water. I forgot 1 cup is gonna be reserved for adding in here, but 2 cups in here. And then I'm gonna add in a cup of this Masa harina, and sorry if I am killing the pronunciation of that, I probably am. So add a cup of that in. And then I'm gonna just whisk the 2 of these together until they are well combined. Okay, that looks good. So now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna pour it into my pot here. And then I'm gonna whisk that in really well. Now I'm gonna add in that remaining cup of water, my enchilada sauce, the Velveeta that I've cut up into cubes, splash it everywhere. I'm gonna add in my seasonings, which is a ½ teaspoon cumin and a teaspoon chili powder. Give that a good stir. And again, if you want to add salt to this, you can. I'm choosing not to. I'll add it later if I think I need to, but I'm guessing I probably won't. I'm gonna stir this really well. And on medium-high heat, I'm gonna let this mixture come to a boil. I also wanted to mention, as I'm bringing this up to a boil, I am stirring it occasionally because it is taking a little bit of time to reach that point, and I don't want it burning on the bottom of the pan. This is just coming to a boil now, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in my chicken breast, and I weighed this out. It's just at 1.5 pounds, the 3 that I used. So now I'm gonna turn down my heat to low. I'm gonna stir my chicken in, and I'm gonna let this simmer. It says 30 to 40 minutes. And you wanna keep stirring occasionally, again, to keep that from kind of scorching or burning on the bottom. But while this is simmering, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my Pico de Gallo and my tortilla strips. For the Pico de Gallo, I'm gonna be first chopping up these 2 small tomatoes. It's calling for 1 medium, but I'm gonna just be using the 2 small. So I'll get these chopped up. And then I'm gonna chop some of this onion up. It's calling for a heaping tablespoon of minced red onions. I'm gonna get that and add that in. Next, this is a handful of cilantro, which I've got here roughly. And I'm gonna go ahead and just chop that up roughly. And add that in. Tablespoon lime juice. And then salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna just stir this all together, taste it, make sure it's got enough salt and pepper in it, and then I'm gonna set that aside and work on my tortillas. So as I said before, I'm gonna be making my tortilla chips or strips in the air fryer, and I'm gonna be doing them just the same way that I do my chips with corn tortillas or flour tortillas. And that is to just simply spritz them with a little bit of olive oil spray. Sprinkle with a little bit of salt. And then repeat that on the opposite side. And then I just stack them and I cut them. I'm gonna just cut them in half. And then like this to get little strips. Now I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna put them in my air fryer. I let these cook just about 5 minutes on 400. They're looking done, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump them onto a plate to cool. And I just let these cool about 5 minutes or so, and they will crisp up a little bit more once they've been sitting there and cool down. All right, I let this cook, simmer in here for 30 minutes. And if you can see there's a little darker parts where it was starting to scorch. I didn't stir this enough apparently. So definitely stir it a lot while it's simmering to avoid that. But this is looking done, so I'm gonna go ahead and measure this out and see what a serving would be. All right, I measured all that out and I got just about 13 cups. And so I'm gonna factor it in at 12 heaping cup servings. And I also did factor in the tortilla chips too, or the 3 tortillas. So all combined, as you see it here, this for me is 5 points, which doesn't sound too bad. I guess it depends on how it tastes. I'll go ahead and give this a taste. Since it is a new recipe, my husband is not here at the moment. He will be here later, so I might be able to get him to taste it too. But since he's not here now and this is hot now, I'm gonna go ahead and put you on the tripod, hop on the other side of the camera here and give this a taste and let you know what I think about it. So hold on just a second here. All right, hopefully you can see both me and the food. Well, at least the food. That's the most important. Give this a taste. And get a little of the pico with it. That's pretty good. So it's not super spicy, which I didn't expect it to be with what's in it, but it's got a little bit of a spice to it, which is nice. It's really creamy, which with the Velveeta, I kind of expected it to be, but really creamy. Nice little bit of spice. I like the chicken. I can taste the chicken in there really well. As far as the pico goes, I was wondering if you really needed that. Tasting it with that, I think it does add a lot to this. I haven't tried it with the tortilla chip. Let me try that. That was my air fryer, in case you're wondering. Shutting itself off. It's really good with the tortilla chips too. So I would definitely recommend both of those in this. But the soup alone is really good too. Like I said, it's really creamy. I don't know if you can see that in the camera very well. Probably not, but very creamy. Really good. I definitely like that. I was worried that I wouldn't like this because honestly, it didn't necessarily sound like my kind of a soup. And so I figured if I didn't like it, I would do something else with the other half of that Velveeta that I've got left. If nothing else, just do the Velveeta and Rotel dip out of it. But I really do like that. And with the fall weather right now, I think this is a really nice soup for this time of year. So I'll most likely be doing another batch of this up with my remaining Velveeta because, yeah, I think that's pretty good. So thank you to Molly for requesting this. I probably never would have made it, honestly, if you didn't request it. Because again, not necessarily the type of recipe that I would gravitate towards. So that's why I love it when you guys do send me recipes, because it gives me, or it gets me, I should say, to try out things that I wouldn't necessarily try out on my own, like this particular soup, and find new things that I really do like. Because this, like I said, this is really good. It's better than I expected it to be. But if you guys try this, let me know. I'd love to see what you think of it, especially those of you who have actually had the Chili's version of it. I'd love to know if you think this is close to that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. As always, thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one.